All right, I'm recording this basically as last minute as I can here, but we made it. TNC 3. I'm excited. Can't wait to get into these matchups. I'm going to drop my predictions here for you guys today, and yeah, let's get straight to it. All right, so we'll just go in order of the games on the card. We'll start with the opener, Ryan versus J. Lou. J. Lou making his reappearance on Next Chapter after a long time of being other places, doing some side quests, whatever it may be. But we're happy to see him back. He's playing Ryan. They're saying he overtook J. Lou as the most viral hooper on the platform, and what better matchup than to put the new viral hooper against the original viral hooper. And as far as this matchup goes, I do expect there to be a whole lot of oohs and ahs. I think that's why we put this matchup together in the first place. I expect there to be a lot of buckets back and forth from both players. Maybe not the best defensive performance that we've ever seen, but definitely get the fans invested, that's for sure. As far as this matchup goes, prediction-wise, I do have Ryan winning this. I think he is probably closer to the current shape you need to be in just from him playing so recently and consistently, and he is coming off of 2 losses. I don't really expect him to take a third one here. I do expect J. Lou to come out and give us that fan service that we're all looking for. But yeah, definitely expect J. Lou to bring that fan service signature style that we all know him for. I expect more than a few highlights out of J. Lou. I just don't know if it's going to be exactly enough. You know, I think it's really hard to go play in your first pay-per-view game, especially if you haven't been playing in these tune-up games that they've been setting up city to city. But don't get me wrong, J. Lou is going to go out there and remind us all that he is a very entertaining player to watch, for sure. But yeah, I got Ryan, man. I really trust him to get his get back here after taking those couple losses that I mentioned. I think he's somebody that's probably here to stay in the space for a while. I think it's going to be tough for J. Lou to guard Ryan's pace. He plays at a unorthodox kind of pace that's pretty unpredictable, and if you do predict it, he's still liable to make a tough shot on top of that. And I think it's just going to be, like I said, not the most crazy defensive game, but I kind of expect Ryan to hit more tough shots than J. Lou at the end of the day. As far as the score prediction goes, I do expect them to both put up a decent amount of points. And by decent, I probably mean a lot. I think if you're betting the over on this one, you're probably going to hit. Yeah, I'm going to go final score maybe 30-25 Ryan. All right, and for the second matchup of the card, it's actually my second favorite matchup of the whole entire night. Trying to keep my bias out of this. I'm definitely a big Tay fan, but I just think the talent on both sides of this matchup right here is going to be incredible to watch. Former teammates in college, these guys both played at a high level. Caleb is coming off of multiple pro seasons, and Tay is, you know, one of the vets on Next Chapter, been there since the very beginning. Love both of these guys' game. I expect this one to be super competitive. All right, as far as Tay guarding Caleb, I think this is going to be a really tough defensive assignment for Tay. We all know Tay as a really good defender, but we haven't really seen Tay play somebody that's his size or bigger that has that kind of athleticism while still being able to put the ball down on the floor. And I think that adds a lot of layers for what Tay is going to have to face here. Caleb can score it in all type of ways, and when he gets hot, he gets hot. I expect this to be, like I said, a really tough assignment for Tay here. I'm sure we're all familiar with Tay's game at this point. Like I said, one of the Next Chapter veterans. And, you know, I'm trying not to be too biased here, but I really do think Tay has the most appealing offensive package on the whole scene. You know, he's not the most consistent shot maker there is, and he gets plenty of flack for his inability to close games in the biggest moments. But I just really think that it comes to an end tonight. I think this is going to be the game that Tay gets over that hump. I think what's going to really work in his favor is the fact that him and Caleb have so much history playing together in the past. I think the fact that they know each other's games so well is going to lean towards the guy that I think plays better defense, and that is also Tay. I think when you guys know each other's games like that, it does just give an edge to the defender for sure. I also expect this one to be a super close game as well, just like the first one, but not for the same reasons. I just think both of these guys are such high-level players that even with good defense, they're going to get their shots off, and it's going to come down to the wire. Like I said, I do have Tay. As far as the score prediction goes, I'm going to go 30-27 on this one, a really, really close one. I expect Tay to pull it out. I know he hears the noise. I know he hears what everybody's saying, and yeah, I just think this is the time where he finally puts it all together when it matters the most. All right, on to game 3. I believe this is the third one. It might be the fourth one if I have this and the Day Lat game mixed up. Excuse me, that's my fault. I'm also throwing this video here together as fast as I can. I'm trying to get this out last minute. But on to the game. I think this is maybe the most underrated matchup of the night. I do really like both of these players. We haven't seen a lot from Reese. He's pretty new to the scene. And we haven't really seen that much from Keon either, especially the fans that haven't, gotten past the paywall and seen all the stuff on tncleague.com. But yeah, I think this one right here is going to be a goodie, man. I'm super pumped for this one. Both players have an insane ability to create their own shot. I think this one has a better chance of hitting the under though, and it could even go either way hitting the under. I think both of these guys get hot and both of them score in bunches, so it's gonna be whoever really catches that fire when they need to. Okay, we'll start here with a little bit of Reese highlights. I am a sucker for lefties. I can't even lie. I think we all know as basketball fans, there's something super appealing about a lefty, and especially one that's got this much craftiness, Reese is super capable of getting to whatever spot he's looking for. He's stronger than most people even give him credit for. He's got a really sturdy frame and holds his balance really well. You got to watch out for those pivots as we're looking at right now. He's a tough cover, man. He's a tough cover. I really like the way he stays composed. And this is going to be tough for Keon, especially with all the fans questioning his defense. This will be a defensive test, that's for sure. Now for Keon, I know I just hyped up Reese. I love the way this dude puts the ball in the basket. He is super elusive is the word that everyone likes to throw around with Keon. He just somehow gets them up, especially in these one-on-one settings where he doesn't have any other factors that he's got to worry about. When he just looks for his own shot and it's a setting like this, he just always finds a way to get it. I think his wingspan is going to be tough for Reese to deal with. I think his creativity, just like Reese has got the creativity, is going to be tough to deal with. I expect this to be super entertaining and super fast-paced. That's kind of what Keon brings as well. He doesn't really spend too much time on the court in these one-on-ones. He gets in there and gets the job done pretty quick. And I expect him to do the same thing in this matchup as well. I think Keon is also hearing a lot of noise, like I mentioned, about his defense and maybe his focus or whatever it may be. I don't think that's going to be a problem. I think a lot of people that are saying that haven't seen those behind the paywall games. This dude, Keon, is different, man. I'm trying to tell you guys. I do have Keon winning. I think it's going to be not that close, not because Reese is any kind of bad player or anything. Like I mentioned before, I think these guys just score in such bunches that it's going to end in a pretty statement run with my pick being Keon. And it could be Reese the other way. I think both of them have play styles that contribute to that kind of result, but I expect Keon to throw that final punch. I got Keon winning 30-19. Okay, game 4, Day versus Lat. Big fan of both of these players as well. Let me just give a quick shout out to how they put together all these matchups. I think all of these matchups are going to be super, super entertaining. I think this was a really well-crafted vision from all the guys at Next Chapter here. They know what the fans are looking for. They really do. I think this one is going to have a whole lot of energy. I think Lat just brings that kind of energy even when he's silent. You could feel a certain kind of aura. I hate to use that word, but he comes out there on that marine vibe, and it's pretty imposing. And as far as Day, I think he's going to match that energy because I know how hungry he is and how patient he's been at the same time, waiting for a moment like this to really go out there and prove what he's got. Day's been on a really good run recently, man. He's coming out sharp, working on the jumper. That game against Jay Horn really showed the development of his jump shot. As you see here, he was knocking down some good shots against Kel as well. This game did drag out very long against Kel, which I also do think plays into Day's favor. As a defender, if you could get out there and get a bunch of stops and try to outlast your opponent, I think that's a good strategy for anybody that can play defense the way that Day plays. But if he goes out there and plays defense and knocks down these shots, we're going to see a completed form of Day that we've kind of been waiting for a long time as one of the Next Chapter veterans as well. And as far as Lat goes, that guy can just put the ball in the hole, man. He's got a super efficient, super polished game. He's coming out there. He's looking for his spots that he practices relentlessly, and I haven't seen anybody stop him from getting there yet. I know I mentioned how good of a defender Day is, and he does have a height and length and probably athleticism advantage over Lat as well. And yeah, I just don't see that being enough to stop this guy. I think this guy is that good of a scorer. I think this has the potential to also be a game that hits the under, in my opinion. No shot to Day here. It's his first pay-per-view game, and he's not really known to be the most consistent player as well, kind of like a Tay. And I just think Lat takes advantage of that, especially coming off of a pay-per-view loss to Cam that I know he wants that game back. I think this is the Lat that got woken up. He is coming on that time, and I wouldn't want to be the guy to play Lat. It's not even a Day thing. I just think the point of Lat's career he's in right now is just a really scary point for whoever wants to stand in front of it right now. I just think super efficient. He's going to get the job done. He scores a bucket and runs back up to the top of the key as soon as he can and checks it in for another one as soon as he can. It's going to be a lot to deal with for Day. I also think, although Day is a good defender, he does have the tendency to go for a lot of side-to-side fakes, and Lat's not the most side-to-side player, but I can really see a lot of those jab steps really sending Day in one direction and Lat going the other one. I think this is going to be a super tough cover for Day. Somebody, like I said, who's just got his game polished, man, and it's going to be a tough test for Day. I do have Lat winning this game, like I said, probably 30-20. 30-20 is what I'm going to go. All right, Game 5, co-main event, in my opinion, should be the main event. I'm super excited for this. I am a big advocate of the YouTubers playing against pros. If you guys have seen my previous video, I think this only furthers the space. I think a lot of these pros are being slept on severely, especially because of their poor overall performance as a unit coming into this space. I also mentioned in my first video that Eugene German was the only one one to really break that mold of coming in here ready from the jump. And yeah, I just think this is going to be a really good one. I don't think Darius is any kind of slouch that's sleeping on the kind of talent that is in this space. I think he knows what he's walking into, and I expect a really good game because of that. All right, we're all familiar with Rob. How could you not be? You know, if you're a fan of this space, you know Rob. Debatedly the number one guy on YouTube. Definitely the number one guy, at least on the Next Chapter side. And he is a potent scorer. We all know this. You got to guard him from half court. And if you guard him too close, he's super strong, super quick. Might just give you a 1-2 dribble to the basket, bump you out of the way, and it's just as easy as that. You know, he is a tough cover. I think Darius knows this, like I mentioned. You know, he actually got to see Rob play live at this event that I'm showing clips of right now. And yeah, this is going to be a super tough test for Darius, you know, coming into the space, and you got to play the number one guy, debatedly, from the jump. You know, this is no small feat whatsoever. All right, as far as Darius goes, I understand how it is incredibly easy to sleep on these pros coming into the space now. Their overall resume against the YouTubers is not looking too great. I'm sure we all know this now. And I looked at the polls recently, and apparently 12% of people have Darius winning. I think that's a shame, man. I think that's a shame. I know we weren't super familiar with who he was before the announcement, you know. I'm even a big basketball nerd that is familiar with a lot of these overseas players, and I'd never heard of Darius before this game. But I'm looking at these clips. I'm looking at everything that he's been saying in his interviews. I'm considering his story that he told, where he came from. I don't think you guys understand how crazy of a feat it is to go from a Division II basketball player to play in the CBA. If you guys are unfamiliar with the CBA, that's the same league that all of the household name NBA players go to play when their career doesn't pan out in the way that they were looking for it to pan out. That's not, you know, I'm a big Isaiah Briscoe fan, but Isaiah Briscoe played in the Chinese NBL. You know, that's the second division China league. This dude played in the CBA, like I mentioned, same league as Eugene German, but same league as all of these other NBA players. Ty Lawson, Stephon Marbury, Allen Iverson. The CBA is no joke, man. They pay their players a whole lot of money over there, and for very good reason. And like I said, to come from where Darius came from and jump through all those obstacles and make it up to that league, I think that shows a crazy underdog mentality that, you know, the whole Next Chapter was founded off of in the first place. I like his composure in his interviews. I like his humbleness, but still having the ability to have confidence and talk his shit a little bit. I'm super impressed from what I'm seeing. And as far as the actual game goes, this dude is disgusting, man. He is no joke. I think it is the perfect type of pro to bring in the space. It's not just somebody that has a name and may not be super interested, but will show up for the money. This guy is hungry, and he's got the game to back it up. You know, I'm really confident in what he's going to do. And because of that, I do have Darius winning. I do. I think he has a couple more ways to score than Rob does, even though Rob's scoring is as potent as it is. I think the versatility and variety that we're going to see out of Darius is going to just be a lot to deal with for Rob defensively, especially as somebody who doesn't, you know, play that super close to the line of hacking kind of style of defense. I think you might have to do that against a guy like Darius. People don't understand what kind of scorer this guy is. So with all that being said, yes, I do have Darius winning. My boldest prediction of the video. You guys can argue about it with me in the comments if you want. I'd love to engage. But yeah, I think Darius is going to win, and I think this is going to be a close game. I think Rob is not going to go out there and get punked, obviously. I think he's got enough experience. He's got enough IQ of the space. He's got, everything you need to go out there and still put up a bunch of points. This is a game that I'm also probably betting the over on. So I'm going to go 30-26 Darius. I think he's going to come in and upset and shock the world. And I'm super curious to see what kind of conversations we're going to be having if that does happen. I think maybe people look at it as something bad for the space, like this is the pro that if he does win, it delegitimizes all the talent of the players in the space. But I don't think so, man. I really don't. I think Darius will even say himself how good these guys are. He's not taking any of them lightly. I just think, in my opinion, when he wins, there's going to be some real good conversations to have about who else we can bring out, who else we're maybe sleeping on. Like I said, we didn't know who Darius was, and he really can come out there and shake some stuff up. And now for the main event. This is the most fan service game of all fan service games. People have been asking for this matchup relentlessly. Cam and Moon are two of the biggest fan favorite guys in the whole entire space, and they're playing for that big money pot at the end. And as far as all the views that they're bringing into the space, they deserve it. They do. They're part of the people that pioneered the space. They're part of the people that kept the space going for as long as it's been going for. Everybody loves these guys, man. They put on a show and they do what they have to do. Time in, time out, Yes, a lot of people are saying this is the most 50-50 matchup of all time. That's another great reason why people are tuning into this as well. This one could really go either way. Definitely the toughest one to predict, but let's get into the predictions here. All right, we'll start off here with breaking down Moon, the vet of all vets. I'm pretty sure he's probably played more one-on-ones than anybody. Maybe Uncle Scoob is a close second. This dude is as experienced as you could possibly be, has been there from the jump. Is part of the reason they even wanted to start doing one-on-ones in the first place. They used to do 5-on-5 park runs, and Moon would play against the best player in the park every single time, and that concept went super viral, and from there you got the next chapter. Moon is, like I said, a fan favorite. He's got a very recognizable game. And to be honest with you guys, I don't even really have a prediction as of this moment. I'm thinking about my prediction of this game as I'm making this video. I think this is definitely a hit the over game. This is going to go down to the wire, in my opinion. I don't see either of these guys losing by a large margin in this kind of magnitude of a game. And yeah, I don't know. I'm going to have to go through these clips with you guys and make a last-minute game-time decision here. Moon is insanely unorthodox, insanely hard to guard because of that. I wouldn't describe Moon as an incredible shooter, but he does find a way to just hit these ridiculous shots. And honestly, recently, especially this game right here, he has been finding that three ball. He's knocking it down with a lot of consistency. He's, I don't know, looking like a complete package recently, man. That's going to be a really tough cover for Cam. It's going to be a really tough cover. All right, as far as Cam goes, arguably the fan favorite of all fan favorites, especially in this last year. The amount of love he gets from the fans is mind-blowing. They love this guy. They love Cam. And I totally see it, man. He's got the personality that everyone clings on to. He plays hard every time. You know what to expect. He's going to put his best foot forward. He's going to never back down from any kind of challenge. I think that's what's helped him grow as a player tremendously since the whole inception of the space. This dude just steps up to the plate, man. He really does. And to be honest, I've bet against Cam a couple times and yeah, lost my money. You know, he finds a way to bring out that belt like you see right there, and he gets it done, man. And I don't know. I want to go Moon. But to be honest, I'm tired of losing money against this guy Cam. I'm tired of it. He keeps taking money out of my pocket. This dude is just somebody that I think is built for these moments. He's got the home court advantage. I think the type of run that he has been on in this whole 2025 year is contagious. You know, I think he feeds off of his own previous performances. I think he's coming out here with a different type of killer mentality. And because of that, I do have Cam winning. Like I said, I think this is going to be a super, super close game. I expect both of them to do what they were supposed to do. This has been built up for a long time. Both of them know this. Both of them knew this game was going to come eventually, and I expect both of them to come up and be ready. But I do have Cam winning, and it is mostly just because of that competitive edge, man. It's hard to bet against, you know. Everybody loves an underdog story. I think that's another reason why people cling on to Cam so hard, and this is the time where I finally do it too, man. This is the time. Cam, I got you winning this. I'm going to go 30-28, literally by a bucket. You know, I think this is one of those games. I think this is the most 50-50 matchup that they've ever put together. It's a great selling point for this game, and, you know, if that's the reason why it's going to be the main event, so be it. You know, I understand. This is what we've all been waiting for. So I do have Cam. Super excited for this matchup. We're going to see how it goes. All right, and that concludes my video on TNC3 predictions. If you guys are not tuning into this, I don't know what the hell you're doing. Just buy the goddamn ticket, all right? They put on a show every single time. Production just keeps on stepping up and stepping up. Apparently, they're teasing a new step up in the production as well, and I'm super excited for it. You know, when they promise to put together a good product, they really do, man. And these guys at Next Chapter know what they're doing. If you guys have any comments that you want to leave them down below. I'll try to get back to all of them. Leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys later.